everyone, and welcome to episode 39 of Down to Watch, the podcast that asks, are you down to watch? I'm your host, Kahmeela, and we will be talking about movies today. And I know usually we review a movie, but this time we're talking about a movie before I get to see it. I am so happy to welcome my guests today, Ed Santiago and Todd Folts. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Hey.
So we are talking about a documentary called 45, a rock and roll documentary. Now, I know that I don't know too much about the history of this. Well, let me just go ahead and read the summary here. Sherwood High School in Sandy Spring, Maryland, has managed to produce a highly entertaining and incredible rock and roll revival show, and they have been doing this for the past 45 years. So that alone is extremely intriguing to me. And so we're going to talk about the film, the making of it, and where you can see it if you're in the area. So the film was directed by Ed Santiago and associate producer Todd Folts and cameraman and just many more. Todd Folts is also here. And so, gentlemen, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with you, Ed.
Hi. Let's start with me. I was in the military for 20 years, in the Marine Corps as a motion picture and television production officer, and then I retired in 1990 and went to Hollywood and started a post-production company out there, and I had a company called Digital Cut Post for the better part of another 20 years, and we provided editing equipment, technical support, service support to the independent and studio films in Los Angeles, and we did about 25, 30 feature films a year.
Wow.
And it was a great time, and I retired from that, and I keep on retiring. You're gonna hear this as the central theme here. I keep retiring. I retired from that in 2008. Got bored, got invited to come out to Washington, D.C. to transition a post facility into high def. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And so we came out here, and I've been out here ever since.
And out here is Maryland?
Maryland. I'm sorry, out here to Maryland. And I've been out here ever since. But I still, I'm an editor by trade and training, and I still have all my Hollywood directors that call on me to edit projects and stuff, and we do it all now through Dropbox and YouTube, and it's really gotten to the point that in the film industry, an editor can live just about anywhere.
Which is amazing. So what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
So Todd, what about you?
Well, let's see. I went to film school a long time ago. I worked in TV land. I lived in Pittsburgh for a while, did a couple of 48s.
48-hour film.
The lady that's running them now, way back when. Wandered off to Memphis, worked for the Navy doing productions there, got tired of Memphis, found a gig in D.C., came up here, finishing up my graduate degree. That movie's almost done. Known Ed for a couple years now, and, hopefully going forward we can start making some really cool movies and make a name.
So this is going to be the first of those many cool movies that you guys are making. And for those of you that are listening, Todd and I go way, way back. We used to work at a store or something way back when, and we also had our creative times together. And we did participate in the Pittsburgh 48-hour film project for a couple of years. And he left me, and I was forced to just go on and take over the entire event. So that's... Well, you can thank Todd for why I'm the producer for the Pittsburgh 48-hour film project. So this documentary, 45, a rock and roll documentary, what was it that attracted you to it? What was it about the project?
Well, I came from Hollywood, and something about coming from that part of town is that you're always looking for stories, or stories kind of like tell you that, hey, there's a story here. And my son had just started high school at Sherwood High School, and he got involved in this rock and roll revival, and we had heard about it even before he went to high school. We had heard that it's a huge thing. The whole community gets involved. The whole school gets involved. And the first year that he was involved as a freshman, we went to the show, and I can actually tell you that it was a jaw-dropping, oh my God moment. It was like, how did they do this? I mean,
Which
I
isn't
was
something that
fortunate.
it isn't normally like a response you get from a school play of sorts, like a high school play.
Yeah, and one of the founding directors actually, makes a statement that they tell the kids that this wasn't a regular school thing. This is a step above. This is the way he actually says it, and that's exactly what it is. When especially during that final tech week, when you see the finishing touches being done on the set, when you see the costume people, dressing everybody, getting everything in order, and you see the final rehearsals, I was just blown away. And I talked to the music director, Mr. Bill Evans, and I said, "Has anybody made a documentary of this?" I said, and everybody talks about it, but nobody has done it and stuff. So the seed for this started 4 years ago,
Okay.
and
And
and then to move forward, I on the fourth year, Rock and Roll 45, the director, Bill Evans, pulls me aside, says, Ed, I think I'm going to retire after this year. So I said, okay, if we're going to do this, we got to do this for Rock and Roll 45.
yeah,
It's a perfect thing. It's the 45 is the same thing as a record 45. It's the 45th year. Like all the stars were aligning. He was retiring after 37 years of doing it. I said, if we're going to do it, let's do it now. And that's what we ended up doing.
so Todd, did Ed just contact you to jump on board with this? And when he had you seen the show prior to this? Did you have any knowledge of it?
Ed and I worked together for a short amount of time here in DC, and he went on to other things. We stayed in touch. I got in touch with him again about maybe a year after all that, and he told me about the film, and I said I have to be involved in this. Whatever you need me to do, I'll drag cables, I'll set up tripods, I'll herd traffic, whatever you need. And he told me about it, and I remember at the time when I was in high school, and I performed in choir, and we went to the World's Fair, and I had an understanding of what the possibility that kids can do, and knowing also that a lot of school programs are canceling arts and canceling music. And here's one that's been able to keep something going in a small little suburb, 30 miles outside of D.C., and make something like successful. And then, Ed described to me the scope of it. You've got a school of like maybe 1,000 kids, and or maybe 1,500 kids, and like 400 or 500 kids try out for the show from that school, and maybe 200 or 300 make it in. So it's almost like a cultural thing that is big in that area, and why wouldn't I want to be a part of it?
Right. It seems like the show in itself is almost kind of a rite of passage for these kids. I guess
No, the kids absolutely. I mean, the kids and the community, everybody is like so involved in it. There's at any given day, there's 50 to 60 parent volunteers that are behind the scenes dressing the kids' makeup, making sure that their instruments are like roadies. Think of them as 50 parent volunteer roadies that are helping put this show on the thing. And I look at it like almost like these old Ed Sullivan variety shows with only music, with only bands and solos and stuff like that. But it's a small school, 1,200 kids, and like Todd said, 300 of them are involved in the show any given year. They have a 1,200 seat theater at the school, and they do 6 performances, and they're sold out every year. From what I heard and learned, for the last 38, 39 years, it's been absolutely sold out. It's the hardest and the hottest ticket to get.
Wow.
Is 45 Rock and Roll Revival during the first 2 weekends in March.
God, so I mean, it's wonderful to hear that there's so much community and parental involvement in this show from the beginning to the end, and how much the community has embraced this and how much they love it, and especially for so long, like such a longevity, 45 years. Wow. It's really impressive. And has the musical director was Bill Evans, has he been a part of has he been the director for this entire time?
Yeah,
or
for the last 30, he came in on Rock and Roll 9, and
Okay.
he retired on Rock and Roll 45. So he was there for 37 years, 37 shows, and we interviewed, the first musical director, the ones, the in-between ones, and we interviewed, obviously, Mr. Evans and stuff.
Mhm. How did the students and the school react to the idea of a documentary?
It's that in itself is fascinating, in that no parent had ever been allowed into any rehearsals or
Really?
anything. It's a very well kept and guarded secret, and when I told Mr. Evans that this is what I want to do, that I needed kind of like really full access. I mean, no editorial. They can't tell me what to shoot, what not to shoot, when to be there. Like, I would set the schedule, and I needed to talk to some kids, and we wanted to follow a couple of kids through the process, and we interviewed the kids before and the parents, because we wanted to make sure that if they got selected, it would be cool to put them on film. But if they didn't get selected, I also wanted to have their permission and their parents' permission to still. And as it turned out, the ones that we selected were both selected and went through the whole process, and we see them going through the whole process. The auditioning process, the rehearsal process, the tech weekend, and the eventual opening night in the show.
I would imagine that this is a very emotional time for the kids, from auditions all the way up to, I guess, closing night for the show. Just so much I don't want to say at stake, but there's a lot that's going on, from just like the insecurities of, am I going to make it, to you make it, and then all of the work. It just seems like it's such, like, from the Indiegogo video, I gather that the prep for this show is pretty intense. So these kids have got to be dedicated and hardworking.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we captured their nervousness throughout the whole process.
Right.
And and in the rehearsal, and I think when the people see the film and they see the kids going through this process, from the audition to the rehearsals to dress rehearsals to being on stage, I think at the end of the day they're going to get blown away when they see them on stage, because it's a concert quality show.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. This isn't an amateur hour, a talent show. This is a full-blown you know, 3-hour, 42-song
Wow.
rock and roll revival.
So there's not really a narrative per se. It's just basically they're going through the history of rock and roll musically.
Yeah
Yeah.
and no. I mean, they play current stuff. They play older stuff. From the tapes of the shows that I've seen in the past, they kind of just pull music like what you would hear like on the radio.
Mhm.
So it's not so much like a history as it is like a showcase
Okay.
of the different the students that are in the bands, the students that are singers, the students that are dancers, and the music directors would select a pool of songs that they felt would best exemplify what those talents and those abilities were,
Okay.
and then put them out there. So we're talking shows from the 80s where they're doing like the Bangles and Huey Lewis, and shows where they're doing now, they're doing Janet Jackson and
Adele.
Wow.
and so it's not like you're going and seeing like an oldie show.
Mhm.
It's much, much, much more current, And
Okay.
then, one of the things I wanted to add to what Ed was alluding to earlier, one of the things that impressed me the most about it and was really kind of affirming is that if you give kids, whether they're in high school, middle school, an opportunity to learn and perform, and create an environment where they can do that in, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be really, really successful if you commit to it and
Hmm.
hold them to a standard that they commit back, which is something that you see here.
Right.
They're committed to the kids doing this, and the kids sense that, and the kids give that commitment back,
Right.
and you get just a really incredible show. I would say like performance school show. That's the other thing. It's in a public high school. This isn't like an academy of the performing arts for teenagers. This is
Oh.
Joe's public high school down the road.
So these are just, I mean, not necessary. Yeah, you're right. That speaks volumes to know that it's not a creative arts school or performing arts school. It's just I mean, it's a regular public school. And you were talking about how they hold them to a certain set of standards. I'm sure it helps having the kids have seen this for so many years before them, and after they kind of get this thought in their mind about how it is or how they would want to perform or what they would want to do. And so they've been watching this. They've been growing up and watching this for years.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
that have.
No, we interviewed a gentleman that was in rock and roll number 1,
Oh,
and his son was in rock and roll number 24. And we interviewed both of them. We interviewed a young lady. No, we interviewed about 4 or 5 of them that their siblings had been in rock and roll previously, and they couldn't wait for it to be their term. Time on that stage.
that sounds like
We in,
such an awesome legacy. That's to me so much better than passing down the whole Greek, the whole sisters of the sorority sisters and fraternity.
And also, I mean, like the parent. I mean, I can't say enough about the parent volunteers. These are a lot of them are students that were in rock and roll in their 20s, that they're now in their 40s and 50s and 60s, that are helping put together the show. As the head construction. Keith Carpenter is the head construction guy. Nice name for a construction guy. And the girl the lady, and I'm stalling to remember her name, that does the set. She does it out of Courtney Miller, out of Minnesota, but she was in the program in rock and roll 17 or 18. So and she comes back every year, to design the sets and to be the set decorator and set designer on it. So, I mean, it's just, you can see, I mean, if you have a storytelling gene inside you, it's like you wonder why this story wasn't done before.
Right. Why did it take 45 years for this to happen? Well, luckily you had the vision to go ahead and get it done, the vision and the go forth. Did you guys have did either one of you have a favorite number that the kids are performing this year?
I'll let Ed go first.
I I got to tell you, my
The ones
son
that you
my
like
son
watch
does
you're
one of the
watching.
greatest Mick Jagger impression in Under
Really?
My Thumb. That's just still to me blows me away. But there were so many, it's as I was editing, I couldn't feature all the songs in this thing because it's 3 hours and just
Right.
in the songs. So I keep on saying that it's like a Sophie's choice of which songs I wanted to include as the featured songs in it. And the ones that I featured were some of my favorite, Angel from Montgomery, what do you call it, Dear Future Husband, um,
Yeah, that's been an earworm for me. I can't get that song out of my head. It's like, first time I heard it, I was like, oh, that must be some like 50s song, and then I realized it's like a current song, and everywhere I go, it's playing, and then it gets stuck in my head. But the young lady does such a great job on it that it's just like amazing. And there's some dance routines that these kids do that you watch it and you're just like, oh my God, this is incredible. These kids are really, really talented. You
So
know,
are you stoked to
yeah.
get your
and
boys involved,
and
Todd?
the what?
Are you stoked to get your boys involved?
I don't know if Zane's got the music bug. Aaron likes to dance. So, we're kind of like trying to find ways for him to have that outlet.
Hmm.
Zane did drums for a while. He just doesn't dig it.
One of the points that I wanted to make, and I think Todd started on, is that this, they get an incredible cross section of kids. One of the girls, Allison Miller, makes a statement that they have the football jock, the math geek, all involved
So it's
in
like
this,
real life
and,
Glee.
and the what?
It's like real life Glee.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
real life Glee.
Yeah, in a 3-hour stage show.
So and then another person makes the comment that just being in the show, you automatically have 300 friends.
No.
And that's the biggest takeaway that I got out of it, is that these kids really, really, really care about each other, and they're really performing for each other. We just get to see it and experience it, but they really, really, really care that they're part of that music, whether it be band, dancing, tech crew, microphones, anything, video, anything, that they're a big part of it.
Yeah, there's this clip in the film where the two stage managers go to the tryouts for the show and do like a Journey song or Survivor song, and it's so funny and perfect and captures their personalities and the energy and personality behind the production. It's so honest and raw and real. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was actually the funny part about that is that was right after the last audition, which was about 400 kids totally auditioned between band and vocals. And after they announced that was the last one, that they wanted to do one more number, and the two student stage managers did this beautiful rendition, and it is a highlight of the film. I absolutely love it.
Oh my God. I like the more you guys talk about this, the more excited I am getting to see this, and hopefully I'll be able to like come and see that. I have some friends who live in Sandy Spring, Maryland, outside of Utah,
Look,
that I should probably like come
I'm
down
down Thursday night.
yeah, this
Thursday night.
Thursday night, at the old Green Belt Theater, in Greenbelt, Maryland,
Mm.
the World Music and International Film Festival, which we got selected at a couple of months ago, is throwing this special screening for the film.
So this will be the
And
premiere.
this will actually be the first time that it's seen in public, and it's going to be great. A lot of the students that are coming, a lot of the alumni are coming. It's good. You're not. You're only 4 hours away.
I know. But it already has such a tight schedule this week, but I swear I will eventually get down there. Are you guys going to be putting it anywhere out, any other film festivals or anything?
Yeah, we're basically concentrating. Like I said, I've been in this business 35 years now. Went to Sundance, seven, 8 times with different projects, and I kind of know which films are. I'm concentrating on for this film on music and or film festivals that have an emphasis on music. Austin,
Hmm. Okay.
in New Orleans, there's one in Nashville, the Nashville Film Festival. Places like that. We just, the festival season is literally just blossoming right now,
Okay.
and so we've applied to a couple other ones.
Did the Three Rivers have anything like that?
Music oriented? I don't know if they have a special place for it, but I doubt they would turn something like this away. I mean, that's like around now.
Document, and I love Sundance, and I don't want to knock it and stuff like that, but it's they have a specific documentary that they like to see,
Mm.
and that's that human
Yeah.
thing. I think it would play well,
I think it
but
would play well in
haven't.
Pittsburgh because there's a creative arts school here, and
Oh
there's
no,
a
no, yeah, it would play. It would play incredibly well, and I'll be honest with you, any place that has a public school that is looking to see what else they can bring to the kids,
Mhm.
this will play well. And
Absolutely. And if you guys have any interest in showing it, doing a screening here in Pittsburgh, I will happily assist in any way that I can to get that done for you. Um, so Mr. Evans has already retired. This was his last year, or the
yeah,
pre-school year was
he's
his last year.
retired. Yeah, he's up in he's vacationing now after thing in Canada, and I've been talking to him on a daily. I've been retired for a couple of years, so he's been calling me up. Hey Ed,
What do I
what do
do?
you do?
Well, apparently you go off and make a documentary about this awesome
Exactly. You just
program.
continue to make films, but you make films that you want to do. I have two other films. I just signed on to edit the Billy Vera, the Billy and the Beaters documentary for my LA director Alan Sawyer, who I did El Boxeo with a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And then I have two films, feature films in development. One takes me back to Namibia, Africa, where I spent 2 years on my last feature film.
Okay. So this is to both of you. What type of project have you yet to work on that you really want to work on?
Let's see. I have one, two, three, maybe four stories I want to tell. I want to adapt. I want to adapt a Henry Miller novel. I want to adapt House of Leaves. I want to adapt Generation X by Douglas Coupland, and I want to do a really cool mental sci-fi movie. But those are down the road soon.
What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I still have a couple of projects under, the types of projects. I've done documentaries. I've done feature films. I've worked on television, and I absolutely hate television. You know, um, there's a false to me that there's this false drama that they gotta put in every 20 minutes in order to get through a commercial and stuff, and I just don't find that entertaining at all. But I mean, I would love to. The one that has eluded me that I would love to work on is a western.
Hmm.
That it just absolutely would go nuts. To be involved in a western.
Pretty exciting.
I have a sci-fi western I want to do.
Okay, so once again, do you guys have any other projects that you would like to shout out that you want to draw attention to?
Not right now.
Okay.
No, our efforts is to get as many people as we can to Old Greenbelt
All right, once
Theater.
again, the info,
This
where?
Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Okay, 7 o'clock. And where can they find information on it? Tickets and all that stuff.
We have a website, 45doc.com,
Mhm.
that has information on that screening and has information about the film.
Okay.
And the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And the Facebook page, 45 colon a rock and roll revival. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, thank you both for spending a little bit of time chatting with me about this seemingly awesome project, which I cannot wait to see the film. I'm not going to get a chance to see it this week, but I know I will get a chance to see it eventually. And also, like, thanks for putting such a backbone. Like, I know these kids have got the community and got their parents and got the school behind them, but it's also really great, and I'm sure this kind of helps to put a spotlight on them and to show them that what they're doing is worthwhile and that it means something, and just to kind of help guide in the next generation, the next class that does this. So thank you guys for helping these kids just kind of, understand the importance of music and art and creativity in itself, because I'm all for that.
Cool.
Awesome sauce.
So, so Todd has obviously been spending a lot of time with high school kids. This awesome sauce business.
It's that commercial that's so
That's
funny.
in my head.
Discover
Stuck with his head,
commercial. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, once again, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you guys for listening. You can You can follow us on Twitter at DTW Podcast, and also Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook. And go check out 45, a rock and roll revival, a rock and roll documentary in. I'm sorry, where is it again? Maryland?
The old Greenbelt Theater,
The own.
Greenbelt, Maryland.
Okay, great. And I'll make sure to put links on my stuff, on my Facebook and on my website and whatnot. All right, guys, you have a good night.
Take care.
Take care. Night.
Thank you.